We're going to call that a sound check. Hello, everybody! I see you, Telemachus. I see you, Willie Schmidtmonson. I see you, Bride G. Howdy, 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 howdy. I see you, Jim Stute. I see you, Chris Rive. I see you, Damian Larson. I see you, Carl Floyd. Thank you guys so much for joining us today. We're going to be playing The Hit out of the Vice Alley scenario. And I thought I'd spend like the first 5 minutes here. We're going to go officially live in a little less than 4 minutos. So, we're going to spend the first 4 minutes here just kind of setting up and talking about the scenario. I think one of the things to remember is that I should put a hat on so that my microphone isn't on the other side of the room. Hello, hello, hello. So Bessie had surgery on Friday. She's in a lot of pain still, so she is sitting this one out. She might pop on here for a little bit, hard to say, but give her your best wishes. She had surgery on both of her wrists, old wrestling injuries, so it definitely takes a toll on the body after a while. So what we're doing today is we're going to do the setup for the hit. Excuse me. I think it is important to remember that the setup is not always the same for every scenario. So you always want to kind of go through the setup rules for each scenario as you play, and don't assume, okay, we set up on opposite sides, or, this happens before this and all that sort of thing, because that is kind of changed and customized for each scenario. So as we go through here, we know that the defending league is trying to escort someone from one side of the table to the other. And for this scenario, you have to keep the center of the table clear. So we're going to be using this street basically as the escort, as they're going to start on one side of the table and they're trying to escort them to the other side of the table. Meanwhile, the baddies are trying to stop them. So take them out. In this scenario, the defenders cannot actually attempt the major plot point. So that is only for the attacker who are coming in to stop the escort, the target, from getting off of the table. While the attacker is in contact with the major plot point, they can attempt it, and they can even use their brawl or their shoot skill in addition to whatever skill is listed on the card. So that's kind of showing that they're basically trying to eliminate the plot point from the table. If the target does not move off the table, is not completed, then the attackers win. If it doesn't get off the table, if it makes it off the table, then the defenders win. So we already set up terrain. We're going to deploy leagues next. Now you'll notice that you don't get to roll for initiative before you have to deploy. That's designed that way. I'm going to shut the monitor off because I bet that's a little bit loud. Okay, we'll turn it down a little bit, just so if Bessie needs something, I can still hear her. What was I talking about? So you don't know, at this point, you still don't know who the director is going to be. So the defender has to set up first. And what we're going to do is we're going to set the defender up. Oh, by the way, this is kind of playing solo. It's definitely a form of solo, but it does not use the solo deck today. So the defender sets up within 6 inches of one side. I know that my target is going to be here in the middle, so I'm gonna set D.A. Denton up. He's the leader of the League of Justice. And then I'm gonna put Betty on one side. I'm gonna put Father O on the other. I'm gonna put Kato over here by the fire engine, and Dottie over there. So that's the setup for the... I didn't even switch cameras. Doggone it. There. Okay. So there it is. Now you can see it. There's D.A. Denton in the middle. There's Betty. There's Dottie back behind her, kind of forming a little bit of an arc here to defend the target that I know is going to be marching down the middle of the street. Now, for the attackers, I could split them up and I could put them on both sides of the table. We'll try just to move this camera around a little bit more. So I think for the attackers, they could set up within 6 inches of one of the sides, of either side of the table, or both sides of the table. So I feel like what I'd like to do is maybe try to put some pressure on this side. Maybe if I can come up from behind, or at least threaten them a little bit from this side. I think I'm going to do that, and I'm going to put Autumn. I'm going to put Autumn at the corner. I'm not going to expose her to start off with, but they're going to know that something's going on there. And then over here, I'm going to put Winter as far up as I can get her over here to kind of threaten this side a little bit. And then on the other side of the street, we're going to split up a little bit. Let's see, we're going to do Spring. I think Spring, I'll put Spring back here at this corner. See where 6 inches will get me back here. I'll go ahead and hang out at the corner just as a safety measure. And then you'll also notice that the plot points have not been placed yet either. So then I'm going to put Golgo here. And Summer right here as well. So I'm going to put both of them right here. All right. So there are the attackers set up. Now, after the attackers are set up, that's when let's see what's next on here. Deploy the leagues. Now we're going to place the markers. So at this point, and it's important to remember this, at this point, we still do not know who the director is going to be. The major plot point is going to be placed down here at the center of the table in contact with the edge of the table. So that is the major plot point. And we're going to say for this, it's some sort of politician running for office, maybe dog catcher or something like that. And so D.A. Denton has word that the syndicate is out to get him, so he's here to defend him. And of course, Golgo and her ladies are here to stop it. Now, when you place the plot point, they're intended to be placed alternating. So when I think about where D.A. Denton might want to place theirs, I want to place it where it's over 6 inches from Betty, but not too far away from Betty, because I want Betty to get a plot point. And that's actually important for this scenario, is these minor plot points, because every time the defender completes a plot point, it's going to allow I'm going to put it over here by that sign right there by the vegetable cart. So it's right there. So that's where they're going to place their first one. And now I know that Betty is definitely going to be going for that plot point. So when I place Golgo's plot point, I think I'm going to put it alternating on the other side over here. It can't be within 6 inches of a friendly character. It also cannot be within 6 inches of the edge of the table. I'm going to put it up there. So Golgo has something to move after up there. And then Denton's side will place a plot point. And I feel like, gosh, I hate putting one down there where it can't be within 6 inches of this plot point. But I sure would like to have some forward progress. So I think I'm going to put it out here on the street. I think I'm going to put it out there. Let's make sure that's over 6 inches. It is about 7. So that'll be that one. And then for Golgo's side, I think I'm going to put the next one down here and make sure that that's over 6 inches. Looks like a little bit too close. I'll scoot it towards the taxi. Okay. So I like using those yellow markers really so y'all can see where those are. but I really prefer to represent them by characters. So I think I'm going to put uh, a copper out here for that one. I'm going to put a nun over here getting out of the taxi. I'm going to put a photographer maybe over here at the street corner here, maybe taking some pictures of the politician, trying to get a picture of him. And then down there by the veggie cart, I think I'll put the cabbage cart. I think I'll put the lady in yellow. So kind of gives the plot points a little more character than if we just assumed that they were. So we have officially started. It's now 10:05, so we're well underway here. I thought it would be fun for those of you that like to see, a little bit more of the setup, if we kind of went through some of the setup stuff today with y'all. So now that the markers are placed, now we're actually going to roll for starting initiative. When Vice Alley was released, the official, hey Daniel, thank you for joining. Sean Hudson, thank you so much. Newt Pond Skipper, Neil Morgan, howdy, howdy all. If you're out there, throw a shout out to us. Unfortunately, Bessie had surgery on Friday. She will not be able to join us today. I don't expect her to. She's had surgery on both of her wrists. We're going to roll for initiative now. We'll say that red is for Golgo. And double fives. Golgo is starting off with the initiative. Okay, so that's pretty big. This is one of those scenarios that controlling the initiative can be big. So we're just going to have to see how that plays out. We haven't drawn cards yet, so we will now draw cards. Golgo draws a disarmed, a wrong turn, and a free pass. Oh, now that's interesting. That's pretty beefy for her. Okay, so now we'll draw for D.A. Denton's side. He gets a danger. He gets a uncanny, nice, and a just reward. Very good. Very good. All right, so we're going to set those over here. Okay. Oh, D.A. Denton has Lavender. His secretary, Lavender, the feisty Lavender. Let's see if she's going to help out today. If she has any hidden information on a roll of 4 or better. She does indeed help out. So for Lavender, we get to pick one of the abilities that she has. So she is an associate. You roll for her at the beginning of each scenario. If you roll a 4 or better, you can pick one of these abilities to apply for this scenario. I think for this scenario, what we're going to do is we're going to do Fortune's Favor. So once per turn, if you guys help me remember that. So once per turn, whenever one of my characters faces a challenge, if I don't like the challenge that I draw, I can replace that challenge with one from my hand. So I can use a challenge from my hand. So in other words, I have all ones in my hand. All of them are ones. So I have Uncanny, that has a 1. Danger, that has a 1. And Just Reward, that has a 1 as well. So if I draw something bad, then I can replace it with something from my hand. That's what Fortune's Favor does. All right. So as we start off, Golgo is the director, and she wants to see what D.A. Denton is up to. So she's definitely going to ask. I'll rethink that a little bit. So you'll see how the target moves. Another thing to remember, the target is what Pulp Alley, what we call a personality. It is not a character. It cannot be attacked. It does not activate. It does not perform actions. It is not a character. It does not have a profile. The target is simply part of the story. So it's a term we call a personality. Set dressing. It really does not do much other than it's part of the scenario. All right, so as we start this scenario, I think we're going to say Golgo wants D.A. Denton to activate first. So what they're going to do is we know the target is going to move 6 inches plus X at the end of each turn. So that X puts a little bit of a randomness in there where we don't know exactly where that target is going to end up. So 6 inches plus X, so we're going to say it's going to be at least a 1. So I'm just going to move D.A. Denton up to about right there, just a few inches. I don't really see anything to shoot at, so he's going to end his activation there. The next character, Galgo asks D.A. Denton to activate again. Going to activate Betty, and Betty is going to go for the plot point over there, so she kind of takes off running in that direction. And it will be a run because she wants to get all the way to the plot point, so she's going to go sit right on top of it. And then Galgo asks the League of Justice to activate again. And next we're going to do... Next we're going to do Dottie. She's just going to... Oh, I don't want those assassins to come after her. I'm going to run Dottie also up to the cabbage cart as well, but stay on the other side of it there. So she's going to move up there and kind of stay on the other side of it. Now on this side, maybe I can, when they ask, Galgo asks D.A. Denton to activate again, I might send Puppy off on a wild run here. What if Puppy could go cause some problems? What's a 12-inch run? Not quite. Comes up a little bit short, but you know what? It's good enough. I'm going to send Puppy on a 12-inch run all the way up over on this side. Something like that. You see where I ended up right there? Right there in front of the building. Just a few inches there. And I think Father O is going to kind of do the same thing. He's going to come up over here. So one of the reasons why you want to make the opponent activate their characters first is so that you can see what they've done. Knowing what your opponent is going to do is a fairly significant advantage most of the time. Also, because now Galgo knows that it's if she plays it fairly safe here, if Galgo plays it safe, then she can hold on to the initiative as the next turn comes up. So we'll have to see how that plays out here. The first thing that Galgo's going to do is I think we want to put some pressure on Betty. I don't think we want to let Betty have a free run at that plot point over there. So what we're going to try to do here is we're going to try to put some pressure on Betty. Let me look at cards. I could play that danger. Gosh, do we play that danger? I think we will. I think we will. So when Winter activates back there, Betty is going to play a danger on her, and that's gonna give Winter a random peril. So we're gonna draw the random peril, and it is 1 with cunning. Well, Winter could try to dodge that. Winter could try to dodge it. But you know what? She's going to play it fast and loose here, and she's just going to go ahead and roll her 1 dice 6. That's all she has in it, is 1 dice 6. See if she can get it. And a 4 does in fact pass it, so that will pass the plot point. I'm sorry, the peril. So she will be able to continue her activation. She's going to run 12 inches. I don't know if 12 inches is going to get her to Betty. It will not, but it will get her up to that sign. Okay, so she's going to run and just end her move just like about 2 inches away from Betty. Look at that. Look at that. So she's putting some pressure over there. On the other side, I think Autumn over here, gotta be careful of my cord. Autumn over here, that's on the back side of the alley, she's going to basically try to do the same thing. She's going to run as far as she can and see how close she can get to Betty. So a 12-inch run from this side is going to bring her up to this car, and that's as far as she's going to get. You know what? I'm going to put her right there up against the building for what it's worth. So Autumn is coming around on one side, Winter on the other side. Let's see what happens here. Let's see what happens. They will both end their activations there because they don't have anything else really that they want to do. I'm going to kind of play it safe here on this part of the turn because I don't want to lose my initiative. I think I'm going to go ahead and move Galgo next. Where's that Pooch at? That Pooch is right around the corner. Okay, well, I don't want to take a chance on losing the initiative, so I have to be a little bit cautious here. I am going to run with Galgo, and she's going to run up to the plot point and just stand on it. And from there, she will shoot at the Pooch. From there, she will shoot at the Pooch. She ran, so that's going to cost her some dice. She normally has 2 die 8. That'll get her up to 3 die 8. Back down to 2 die 8 for the run. And Pooch Kato is going to be dodging with 3 die 6. So here we go. Let's get the dice cam up there. Okay. Here is the first shot of the scenario. Double checking my cards. Okay. All right. Shooting. Got an 8 and a 4. Not going to be dodging that 8 no matter what. Does dodge the 4. Takes 1 hit. Down. And Pooch is down. All right. The last character to activate is going to be Summer. She's back down the alley here on the other side of this truck. I know you can't really see her too well from there. And what she's going to do is, I think she might run. She's going to run and get up to the corner of this. Yeah, she's going to run and get up to the corner of that truck right there. So she's putting pressure on Father O. She's actually kind of interceding a little bit. She's getting between Galgo and Father O. And that's the end of the turn. That's the end of the turn. The last thing that happens is that the target is now going to move 6 inches plus X. 6 inches plus X. So for X, we draw a card off the top of the deck. We look at the number in the corner, and it is a 1, so it will move 7 inches. It will move 7 inches straight down the road. It has no programming other than that. That's all it does. It just moves down the road. It's glad handing and waving to the crowd on the streets and all that sort of thing. All right, so that leaves him a little exposed there. You can see if I had somebody in range. Gosh, I do. Autumn is in range. Autumn is within 6 inches right now. You know, she's not great for doing plot points. But I do have a free pass in my hand, and she can use her brawl skill to try to eliminate him. She could, boy, you know, do you risk it? Do you risk it? As we start turn number 2, this is only a 6-turn scenario. We're going to go ahead and draw cards. Galgo is still in control of the initiative. Drew a breakaway, and for D.A. Denton, drew a trip up. boys and girls, a trip up. Okay. So now as we study the table and we kind of look at what the situation is going to be here, we're going to switch to the Cooner Zeppelin cam floating high over top of Vice Alley today. So Galgo and Summer are over here in front of this cargo truck. Oh, we forgot to roll for a recovery check. We need to roll for Kato. Come on. We don't want to lose Kato on the first turn. Let's get Kato up. We're going to roll a 1 die 6 recovery check for Kato. Kato is gone. We lost Kato already. Well, that kind of stunk. Okay. Okay, so floating high overhead, we have our Cooner Beans Zeppelin cam. Betty Bixler is standing on top of a plot point over here. We have 2 of Galgo's dancers, the Deadly Assassins. We got Winter over here, and we have Autumn over there in front of the garage. We have Betty here on a plot point by the cabbage cart. We have Dottie here. We have D.A. Denton out here in the middle of the street. And then right behind him, about an inch behind, is the target. Father O is here by this pickup. Summer and Galgo are over here. Oh, and Spring. Did I forget about Spring last turn? Spring didn't even move. I'm going to go ahead and move her. She was over here. She was over here behind this corner here. I forgot to do anything with her. So I'll just do a 6-inch move with her and just move her up to the corner. She didn't, I forgot to activate her last turn. Okay, so now we're starting turn 2. We drew cards. So, you know, Autumn could do the plot point this turn. She could take him out because she has a free pass. I could walk over there. I could use the free pass to beat the peril, and then I'll have 3 die 6 to do the plot point. Now, the plot point, we are going to do random adventure cards. So I picked out a handful of adventure cards to use for this scenario that just kind of felt sort of Pulp Alley-ish or Vice Alley-ish. We got the Suspicious Stranger. We have an Unusual Package. We have a Back Alley Deal. We have a Talk Fast and an informal introduction or a formal introduction. So each of the plot points will just be a random draw. When you're drawing, if you're using the adventure deck to represent your plot points, it's kind of fun because it just kind of adds a little bit more character to the plot points. It gives you a wider range of consequences and rewards and things like that. It just makes it a little more enjoyable, especially if you've played a lot. You know, it's kind of fun to add something kind of fresh and new in there. If you're doing it, one of the things that I try to do is make sure that I'm conscious of what the rewards are, or what the challenges are. So I try to make sure there's a nice even mix. Here's one that just needs finesse. Here's one that's might or cunning or might. Here's one that's might or finesse. Here's one that's finesse or cunning. So there's a fairly even mix of them. And then also, I think I only put one of them in there that required 1 success. And then then 3 of them require 2 successes, and the one that requires 3. So, you know, you can, if you're gonna use the adventure deck, you know, feel free to kind of think about what you want the challenges to be. And if you want to make the major plot point something specific, then do that. You know, it's kind of more like designing a scenario rather than just doing it completely random. Big howdy to everybody out there. Thank you guys so much for joining today. Daniel is joining us also. Thanks a bunch. I'd like to see Dave run a X-File Delta Green. Yeah, that would be fun. That would be fun indeed. Thank you so much. Thank you. All right, so I think potentially Autumn could actually complete the plot point on this turn. She could. I'm not saying it's
it would be easy, but she could get it done. So I'm going to declare that I'm activating, let's see, what camera am I on? This one. Okay. So I'm going to declare that I'm going to activate Autumn to thwart any of that from happening. D.A. Denton will play Trip Up on Autumn and prevent her from moving over 3 inches this turn. So Autumn cannot move over 3 inches this turn, and he drew that exactly when he needed it. So she's going to get a 3-inch move. So what is she going to do with that 3-inch move? Now, it's important to remember, I guess, that I would say, is that that card is played when you say that character is activating. It's not really played like after you say what she's going to do and, you know, if she's going to shoot and all that sort of thing. So remember, at this point, all we've really done is we've said that character is activating. So now, whatever you were going to do really doesn't matter. You can now choose what you're going to do based on the fact that she can't move over 3 inches. And what do you know? Betty Bixler is within 3 inches. And even though that was not the initial plan, there's no reason not to go ahead and go for it now. Do you think we go that route? I don't know. See, the danger there is if I go after Betty, Betty could try to let's see, it's not over 3 inches, though. She wouldn't be able to do defensive fire. So it's actually a fairly safe rush here. Yeah, it's a fairly safe deal. Or I just move out there towards the plot point. I think I want to try and tie up Betty, though. And the reason is, and I don't know how many of you are familiar with the scenario, every time the defenders complete a minor plot point, at the end of that turn, that means the target gets an extra 6-inch move. An extra 6-inch move if the defenders complete one of the minor plot points. That's important that I stop her from doing that. I don't want her to do these minor plot points because that lets the target get off the table. So I think that's what I am going to do. Autumn is going to go ahead and rush at Betty. And that puts Betty in a really, really difficult situation. Because she was already within 3 inches, she won't be able to shoot. Betty also cannot, she only has 2 die 6 in Brawl and 3 die 8 in Dodge. Boy, oh boy. 2 die 6 in Brawl. Whew. If I could take a chance here, if I could somehow out Brawl Autumn, who has 3 die 6 in Brawl, Betty has 2 die 6. If I could somehow beat Autumn down and become director here, it's a risky move, right? The safe thing would be to just try to dodge. I think I'm going to risk it, though. I really, if D.A. Denton could become director here, it could really switch things up for him. It's a long shot. It is a long shot. But I'm going to brawl with Betty with 2 die 6. And Autumn is brawling with 3 die 6. All right. Here we go. 2 die 6 from let's see, I'm going to do the active character, which is Autumn. There's no real reason to do that other than out of politeness because this is considered simultaneous. Autumn rolls. She gets a 4 and a 5. Okay. All right, Betty. You got to make it count. Oh, double ones, boys and girls. Double ones. Can you believe it? You know, you take your risks, and that's what a risk is. It means if you blow it, you blow it. So double ones means she doesn't score anything. She takes 2 hits, has to roll a 2 dice health check, Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. This is so bad. 2 dice health check for Betty. She's got D8s. All right. And she fails. A 2 on the health check there is enough to get her injured. Doggone it. Whoo, dear, oh dear, oh dear. So now we look at the situation again as Galgo. Now again, Galgo's in control of the initiative here. Galgo's got the initiative. So we look at the situation and we decide, does Galgo go first? Does Galgo activate a character? Or do we make D.A. Denton activate a character? And this is where you have to think about it like a chess player in a way. What you're trying to do here is you're trying to think about what is your opponent going to do and what are you going to do, you know? So if I let D.A. Denton go, I got Betty. There's no way he's going to get that plot point now. What harm could D.A. Denton do to me if I let him go? I don't know that he could really mess me up. I don't know that D.A. Denton could really mess up Galgo too bad right now. So that's what you're really looking at as when you have the control of the director. You want to try to decide, can the other side mess me up on what I'm going to want to do? Because if they can't, then it's okay to kind of think about letting them go. And I think that's what we're going to do. We're going to go ahead and let, it's a dangerous thing sometimes to do, but I think it's worth the risk. Again, Pulp Alley is a game of risk and reward. If you have to take some risks once in a while if you're going to get something out of it. So at this point, I think we can afford to let D.A. Denton go first. So what we have to think about here also is how far is the target going to go this turn? If the target right now, if nothing happens, if none of the minor plot points get passed, then the target's going to move X or plus 6 inches. Galgo right now is sitting on a plot point over here, though. So if she completes that plot point, then that's going to subtract 6 inches off of the target's move. And maybe we go ahead and do that. Maybe we go ahead and take that plot point out. I hate to do that because I would really like to save that for later in the turn. You know what? I'm going to go ahead and let Galgo says she is confident that D.A. Denton is not going to be able to do anything. So she says, go ahead, Denton. Let's see what you can do. So Galgo asks Denton to activate a character. So now Denton... Now, guys, remember that Vice Alley was written before the actual solo rules were written. So back in the early days of Pulp Alley, I think we still played solo. We just didn't have like this sort of deal where you basically played both sides. So these scenarios aren't really set up for solo play, and that's why I'm playing it this style, because it really doesn't work as well. It doesn't have any programming in there for the other side of as far as what they're supposed to do. And this is a tricky scenario. This one really needs both sides to be really engaged in what they're thinking about, and it's kind of tricky to program that in there. So this one doesn't really work with the solo deck all that well. So D.A. Denton has to activate a character. So what I would like to do is I'd like to find a way that I could steal the initiative. So the two ways that I can steal the initiative is that I can win a fight, or I can complete a plot point. Let's see what we have. Can I win a fight somewhere? So D.A. Denton could rush Autumn. He's within 6 inches of Autumn. He could also go after Winter, but then that leaves the fella completely free. Nobody's in range to do him, though. Nobody is in range to do the target right now. So maybe Denton runs over here and tries to clobber Autumn. Yeah. Because if I could pull that off, if I could run over there and clobber Autumn, then if I could steal the initiative, that would allow Betty to possibly even get that plot point. Or, yeah, let's try that. I'm going to look at cards real quick. Okay, I don't think I have anything. So I'm going to say D.A. Denton is gonna jump over the cabbage cart, running over there. Roar! And he jumps on Autumn. All right. So D.A. Denton was a prize fighter in his youth. He was a Marine. He's not opposed to getting in there and mixing it up a little bit. He has 3 die 10 in Brawl. I think I also have a discard ability. Brute. May re-roll 1 Brawl. Okay, so I got 3 die 10 coming from D.A. Denton. And Autumn has been in a fight. Maybe we switch to dodge here. I feel like I might just have her dodge with 4 die 8. Look at that, boys and girls. She is a dodging machine. The dancers know how to evade the grabbers. So I could dodge with 4 die 8. I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do that. She's going to dodge with 4 die 8. Because I don't want to take a chance on him getting the initiative. So here's his attack. Oh, I still don't have the dice cam. There we go. Here's the attack. D.A. Denton comes in swinging. An 8, a 9, and a 10. Well, you're not going to dodge that 9 and 10. No, sir. Here is the dodge. Did not dodge the 8 either. Takes a 3 dice hit. Bam! And she is down. Crumbles underneath the blows of the boxer. Autumn goes down. That means D.A. Denton becomes the director now. Well. D.A. Denton is now director. Whoo, boys and girls. Now, does Betty go for that plot point? Oh my gosh, she's hurt. We got to think about that target, though. We don't know where he's going to end up. Do we go for the plot point? That's going to get an extra 6-inch move. I think we have to go for it. I think we have to try it, right? I think we have to. Okay, so before we do anything else, I don't want to take a chance on Winter. I cannot ask Golgo to activate. Because if I ask Golgo to activate, I know Winter is going to leap over that sign and rip Betty a new one. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to go ahead and activate Betty. And she's going to try that plot point. So the first thing that happens is she gets a peril. Checking my cards, the peril is 2 with cunning or might. All right, well, she has 3 die 8 in cunning. Oh, boy. That's not great odds. But we can do it. We got 3 die 8. Now, I could replace that. I could replace it by using a challenge from my own hand using Fortune's Favor. But I don't want to get rid of my Uncanny card. And switching it to 1 with Might is not a big help because she only has 2 die 8 in Might. So we're just going to roll it. We're going to roll our 3 die 8 and hope that we can get 2 of these. This is the peril. This is the peril. Got the 2 we needed, boys and girls. She gets the 2 successes she needs, and she gets past the peril. Now, for the plot point, we're going to draw one of our adventure cards. So I was really glad that I didn't have to burn my uncanny there. I wanted to hold on to that uncanny. I didn't want to use it there. So here is for the here is for what the plot point is going to be. So we're just going to draw a random card here. This one here. Did not want to see that. That's the 3. That's the 1, 3, of course, that was in the deck. So 3 successes with finesse or cunning. 3 successes with finesse or cunning. And she has 4 die 8 in finesse, but she's injured. That's going to put her down to 4 die 6. And I just remembered that Betty is impetuous. Betty is impetuous, and I cannot play fortune cards during Betty's activation. She cannot play fortune cards during her activation. So I cannot use that uncanny during her activation. That is a disadvantage. It gives her an extra ability, but it's still a disadvantage. So I have 4 dice here that I'm going to roll. And I need to get 3 successes. That is not good odds, boys and girls. That is not good odds. Here we go. I need 3. 1, 2, 3, boys and girls. 1, 2, 3. And that's a completed plot point. We're going to take that plot point. Let's take a look at, see what the reward is. I rolled the 3 successes. I gain a +1 bonus to all finesse rolls. So that's the reward, and that will be attached. Now, if I'd have failed that, the marker would have moved a D8 inches in a random direction. That's really neat. That is cool. I did not fail it, however. So she passed it, and that means we're going to attach that to Betty. Help me remember that, boys and girls. She has a +1 to her finesse rolls. And I think the important part of that also is that the target will now move 12 inches plus X. Well. Now that puts some pressure on Golgo. Now, if it had just been a normal plot point, maybe I would have ignored it, right? If it didn't have that added extra rule in there, that by completing it, that means the target is actually going to get a little 6-inch boost. That's what really made going after that plot point worth it. So currently, D.A. Denton is still in control of the initiative. So we have to assess the situation and think about what we want to do next. So I feel like Golgo's probably going to have to go after that plot point now. There's no way she can ignore that plot point, because otherwise the target's going to get a big 12-inch move. I don't know. Maybe she does. Maybe she does let it go. Because you can think about what's going to happen there. A big 12-inch plus X is going to put it way out here somewhere. It's going to put it almost in the middle of the table, guaranteed. And that means Golgo would be within range to grab it. That would be interesting. That would be interesting. What I'm really concerned with right now is that the target is horribly exposed right now. The target is way too exposed. I only have 2 characters left on D.A. Denton's side. Maybe I wait now. Maybe I wait and see what Golgo's going to do. I've already picked up that plot point, so it's gone. The lady in yellow over there, she's been picked up. So I'm going to take those off the table. I'm still really worried. D.A. Denton's side is really worried about the idea that Golgo will start the next turn with the initiative, because she's in a position right now that if she had a if the target is in a good spot, she could make a run at the target and try and take him out next turn. I need to see what she's gonna do though. I'm gonna save Dottie. I'm gonna save Dottie and Father O, and I'm not gonna activate them, and I'm gonna make Golgo go. So I think the easy one on Golgo's side is probably going to be Winter. I think Winter goes against Betty. I think Winter goes against Betty. She's not within 6 inches of the major plot point, so she can't get that, but she can try to take the initiative away again. So she's going to jump on Betty. Again, it was less than 3 inches, so Betty won't be able to shoot. Betty's definitely going to be dodging here. I want to try to mitigate some of the damage. I don't want to get hurt again. Double checking my cards. I don't really have anything. So Winter is throwing 4 die 8. 4 die 8. The assassins can definitely bring some pain sometimes. 4 die 8 from the assassins from Winter, and Betty is dodging with 3 die 6 because she is injured. Oh, that is not great. That is not great. Okay, here is the attack from Winter. 4 die 8. She gets a 4. Oh, Betty could get away from that. Come on, Betty. Come on, Betty. Oh, she misses it, boys and girls. She misses. She doesn't get a 4. She's going to have to roll a 1 dice health check. And Betty is down. Oh, my gosh. Betty is back down. Now what are we going to do? Now what are we going to do? That made Golgo the director. Crap. Okay, so now looking at this from Golgo's perspective, I think she wants to see what Denton, those last 2 characters, are going to do. That would be to her advantage. She wants to know what's Dottie going to do and what is Father O going to do. So initiative in Pulp Alley is much more like, in my opinion, it's much more like real world initiative. You know, it's really more about forcing the opponent to react or to act, you know, and that's really what we're doing here. By controlling the initiative, I can make the opponent do something. And that's far more valuable sometimes than simply going, oh, that means I get to go first. You know, that's just goofy. We're going to make D.A. Denton do something. So he's got to activate either Dottie or Father O. Whew. It's not a great choice, but I think I'm going to do Dottie. I think I'm going to do Dottie. And I'm going to move her towards the center of the table. I need to cause some pain somewhere, and Dottie's not a great choice for that, but what I'm going to do here is we're going to activate Dottie. She's going to move towards the center of the table. We know this guy is going to move 12 inches. She's going to move out here. Right now, he's going to move 12 inches. Right now, he's going to be somewhere out here. And there's nothing wrong with pre-measuring. Let's see where 12 inches gets us. Holy crap, it's another 2 inches past there. So it's way out here, plus X. So I'm going to run Dottie. I'm going to run. She's going to run all the way to here. So she's trying to position herself into a place where she thinks the target is going to be. When she gets over there, I think she's going to use her little snub nose 38 and pop a couple shots over there at Summer. Dottie ran. So Dottie normally only has one dice and shoot. Okay, she's not a great shot. One dice and shoot. She does have short range, but she'll lose that because she ran. So she'll have one dice to shoot with. Summer will be dodging with, I think, 3 die 8. She'll need it, though. She got one success, and Summer rolls 3 die 8 for dodge. And she dodges it. Summer is going to stay where she's at and will not do a disengage move. And again, they're going to ask, again, Golgo is going to ask Denton to activate. So what if Golgo does that plot point? If Golgo does that plot point, then that means the target will move 6 plus X. So 6 plus X would be down here. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to move Father O over to the center of the table. Trying to think about where it... Boy, I tell you what, I got to remember that Spring is clear back here around this corner. I was about to forget about her again. I was about to forget about Spring again. I need to remember she's back there. So that's all of Denton's side. Father O cannot shoot, so he'll just move to the center of the table there and hold up his Bible and thump it a little bit. And that means Golgo's turn to activate. And she has all of her characters, doesn't she? Except for Winter and Autumn. So all of the characters on this side of the table. So let's do Spring before I forget about her again. I need to get her out into the mix so I know where she's at. I think what she's going to do is she's going to move 6 inches towards Father O. Maybe I go ahead and do a run here. Who's got the initiative? Golgo has the initiative. So what I want to do is I want to get into a position where I can complete that plot point. I'm going to move her 12 inches. I'm going to run. 12 inches. I'm going to get way out there and threaten Father O. I'm going to get way out there and give Father O a threat. So I ran, so that's going to cancel out my bonus for short range. Spring normally has 3 die 6 in shooting, so she'll stay at 3 die 6. Father O is a true believer. That means he rolls 2 dice for everything. He'll be rolling 2 dice to dodge. She'll be rolling, Spring will be rolling 3 die 6 to shoot. Okay, here's the shooting. Let's check cards. Okay, here's the roll. A 4. Can Father O dodge a 4? He does indeed. He's not going to disengage. He'll just stay where he's at. He's in the spot where he wants to be. So now Summer. Does Summer go after Father O? See, if Golgo completes that plot point, then that means the target will only get to move 6 plus X, so it'll probably end up about right here. So if Golgo completes that plot point, she'll be in a position to leap over that and grab, oh my gosh, if we eliminate Father O, if we put him down, let's do it. So I'm going to activate Summer, and she's coming in for the kill. You know what? She's not a great brawler. She's about as good as Father O is. That's really not her job. Her job is really a little more stealth and subterfuge and distraction, but I need her to eliminate that guy. So she's coming out there with 2 die 6. Oh, this is a bad move. This is a bad move. I shouldn't do this. Don't want to take the chance on losing the initiative here. We're going to go for it. We're going to go for it. The risk. All right. She's coming out there. She's throwing 2 die 6. He is fighting back with 2 die 6. He is a true believer, and that means he ignores all of the normal modifiers, including the multiple fights penalty. So he always just rolls his 2 die 6. Did I just make that up? Yes, ignore modifiers. I had to, I had to check the rules. She's coming after him with 2 die 6. Here's her attack. A 4 and a 5. There we go. We can put him. Oh, doggone it. There's the camera. And he gets a 5 and a 6. So she could block 1. She's not going to. And she's going to say, let's just take them all. So we're going to drop all of those dice right in the cup. And we're going to say, this is for Father O and Summer out there brawling in the middle of the street. Summer is going to be the red dice. Father O is the white dice. Bam! Boys and girls, if you haven't already, please take a moment right now and click that like button for us. We need your help. We need your support. Do that part for us. Now, if you would like to do this on a Sunday with us, get signed up to play. We sign up about 2 months in advance. It doesn't matter if you played 100 games or never played at all. We'd like to play with you on a Sunday remotely from wherever you live in the solar system. Get subscribed to our little channel if you haven't already. Now you make me want to buy the Golgo Force. Here we go. Here we go. But it will weaken Father O for the next fight. Why? It will not, because Father O is a true believer, so he ignores the penalties. So here is the fight. Why not try the police? Plot point is... Oh, because you cannot do more than 12 plus X. It's in the scenario. So doing the policeman would not help me at this point. I'm in range. I could do him next turn, but doing double plot points in the same turn will not get another 6-inch move. So it cannot exceed 12 plus X. Just like if Golgo subtracts 6 inches, you cannot actually go below X. You'll always get the X move out of it. Anywho, here is the health check. Father O is the white. Golgo is the red. And they are both down. Both of them are down. Fighting is a dangerous business, boys and girls. Fighting is a dangerous, dangerous business. If you get into fighting, you have to be ready, because once in a while, everybody gets hurt. Now what do we do? Now what do we do? All we have left is Golgo. I think we have to do the plot point. I think we have to try and take that plot point out. I think that's what we have to do. Because if we can take that plot point out, we know the target's going to move 6 plus X rather than 12 plus X. So that's going to put him right in front of Golgo where she can assassinate him. We got to do it. Yep, that's what we got to do. So Golgo is over here with the photographer. And she's going to try to figure out a way that she can cause that politician to get slowed down a little bit. She is sneaky like that. So the first thing that happens is we would draw a peril. And instead of drawing the peril, we're going to... Boy, do we use the free pass here? I think we have to use the free pass here. Because if I blow this, if I blow the peril, Yeah, if I blow the peril, it's going to cost me my whole activation and possibly injure Golgo. So I'm going to use my free pass here instead of drawing the peril. I'm going to use the free pass and pass the peril. Now the next thing that I'm going to do is draw a yellow card for a for a for the plot point. So we know the 3 is already out of there. So there's 2 2s and a 1. And I'm going to roll a dice for it. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2 is this one. And it is 2 with might or finesse. Well, that's in her sweet spot. That's in her wheelhouse right there. 2 with might or finesse. That is a back alley deal. Look at that. She's got the photographer over there. She's cutting a back alley deal with the photographer. Well, well, well. And that means she's going to have to roll 2 successes with might or finesse, and she will be using her finesse here of 3 die 10. Double check and make sure that we don't have anything else to do. Don't see anything else. Looking at my cards, I don't see anything there. So as long as she can get 2 successes here, she gets 2 successes, she'll make that back alley deal. Here it is. 2 successes, and it's easy peasy for Golgo the Assassin. So the back alley deal is completed. We're going to attach that card to Golgo as the reward, just like if she had drawn a reward card. Oh man, she is in the catbird seat right now, boys and girls. And now once per turn, it says here, once per turn, the reward is that she can re-roll a might or finesse dice. So she now has the back alley deal. Well, well, well. So I'm going to take the photographer off of there because that's been completed now. And that means that was the last character to activate that turn. You see the power of holding your activations? By holding your activations, you really set yourself up for that next turn. Because now as we're going into turn 3, she's really in a position to just absolutely control this next turn. All right. We do have a few recovery checks, though. We have a bunch of recovery checks. We have, we'll roll for Father O and Summer out here in the middle of the table. Father O and Summer. Hey, Bob. Thank you for joining us today. Here we go. I have a red dice and a white dice in this cup. We're going to say Father O is the white dice. So remember, if something happens at the end of the turn, such as the target moving, it happens after recovery checks. Recovery checks are the first thing that happen during the end of turn sequence. So we do recovery checks before anything else at the end of the turn happens. You need to watch from the beginning. This has been nailed by, oh, very good. Yeah. This is a lot of fun. So here will Father O and Summer. Red dice is for Summer. Red dice is a 0, is a fail. Red dice is a 2. Father O is going back to the congregation. He remembered he had something to take care of, and that means Summer is in the middle of the table. Well. That's going to be bad. Okay. Over here for Betty and Winter. We'll go with white for... Did I do that wrong? Did I? Who did? I thought Father... Yeah, I did that wrong, didn't I? Doggone it. She's gone and he's out there. Right. Oh, my gosh. Okay. So he's up. She failed. Right. Ugh. Sorry. Um. Same thing. White dice is for Betty. Red dice is for Autumn. Let's see what we got. White dice is Betty. White is a success again, and the assassins are fleeing the table. Autumn is now gone. White is a success. Betty is back on her feet. Now, she was engaged with Winter when she went down. And does she want to remain there? I don't think she does, right? She doesn't want to remain engaged with Winter. See, the only reason that I would maybe stay engaged with Winter is to prevent Winter from screwing with somebody else. I'm going to disengage. I don't think Betty wants any part of whatever Winter is selling, so she's going to disengage from Winter. She does not. So remember, if you recover, if your recovery would put you in contact with an enemy, you're free to disengage 1 inch. And I'm going to move off kind of towards the cabbage cart a little bit there, into the street, off towards the plot point. So, yeah, but she is still injured. Doggone it. She is still injured. Okay. Now, do I have any other recovery checks? I don't think so. So now we're going to draw X. X for the movement of the target. So the target is going to move because Galgo completed a plot point. That subtracts 6 inches off of the target's movement. Because Betty completed a plot point, that adds 6 inches. So now we're right back to, right, if you have multiple things completed, then then it's you just do the math. So X plus 6, 1. So a 7-inch move. A 7-inch move. And that's going to put it right on top of Father O. Yep. Okay, so Father O is right there. Father O is right there. I think Father O, I stood him up in the wrong place, but he was right there. All right. All right, so that puts him right in contact with Father O. So that's not bad at all. That might be the saving grace, except Father O is just about to get some serious attacks on him. Okay, we're about to start the new turn. We're about to start turn 3. This has been brutal. This has been a brutal game, man. So, trying to take the opportunity to explain things a little bit more. I don't know if you guys like all of the extra dialogue or not. If you just say, get on with the game. Just play the game and stop the chitter chatter. I don't know. But if you enjoy the chatter, if you enjoy the extra dialogue, let me know. Trying to explain, kind of why we do things as opposed to just doing them. So now we're starting turn 3. This has been crazy. Galgo still has control of the initiative. So we're going to start her off with the first card, and she draws a Sucker Punch. And D.A. Denton draws a Just Reward. Okay. Now, as we look at this table as if we were Galgo, what we're going to try to decide is how bad could D.A. Denton mess us up if we let D.A. Denton go first. And I think he would really mess us up. I think we're going to have to activate first this turn and try everything we can to take out the target this turn. Because if I let D.A. Denton go first, he's in a position where even if he didn't attack anything, he could just run over here and sit on the plot point. And that would at least prevent me from getting it this turn. Prevent Galgo from getting it. So I don't think I can afford to let I don't think I can afford to let D.A. Denton go first. I think Golgo is going to have to use her control of the initiative to kind of take the advantage here and put it to use. So we have a couple tricks that we could try to pull. Gosh, we've lost 2 assassins. We've lost 2 of our assassins. That kind of makes it rough. So I got to count on Spring. I got to count on Spring shooting down Father O, because if Spring can shoot down Father O, that means Golgo can get over there and take out the target this turn. So that's the play. That's what we're going to try to pull off. So I'm going to look at cards real quick, take a look at what we have. I'm going to say I'm going to just start with that. I'm going to say Spring is going to activate. And so now I got to take a look at D.A. Denton's cards. He's got 2 just rewards and an uncanny. Well, those aren't going to help him. So Spring is going to go ahead and continue her activation here. Where does she want to be to shoot him down? Where does she want to be? I feel like I'd like to get on his backside. Not that there's anything great about that, but I want to. Yeah, I'm just gonna get on that side of him and see if I can shoot him down. So Spring would normally have 3 die 6. Short range is going to get her up to 4 die 6, and Father O, as a true believer, he will always roll 2 dice. Whatever his level is a true believer ability is that you always roll a number of dice equal to your level. So if you're a sidekick with a true believer, you always roll 3 die 8. I shouldn't say 3 die 8. You always roll 3 dice. Sometimes it's 3 die 6. Sometimes it's 3 die 8. But you always roll 3 dice for whatever you do. Almost always. The only thing that can modify it are fortune cards. So you ignore the multiple fights penalty, yada, yada, yada. The other disadvantage, though, to True Believer is that you cannot have another ability, right? So a sidekick normally has 2 abilities, but if you take True Believer, you only get True Believer. So it kind of, that's what you are. You are a True Believer. And then also, you can't gain any abilities from experience, right? True Believer, once you buy into True Believer, you are True Believer. So that's where you're at. So he's got, it's still a cool ability. True Believers of level 3 are still pretty badass characters, though. Spring is going to have 4 die 6 coming at Father O. He will be dodging with 2 die 6. Double checking cards. Okay, let's just do it. Here is Spring's 4 die 6 roll. Boom! A 6 and a 5. Can you dodge that, Father O? Can you dodge a 6 and a 5? No! A 4 will not dodge a 6 or a 5. He's going to take 2 hits. He is down, boys and girls. Father O is down, and the plan is coming together. Now, again, Golgo will now make her move, and she will go after the target. She will activate. So now Golgo is saying she's going to activate. I'm looking at cards for D.A. Denton. They have not changed. So she is leaping over the hood of the vehicle, and she is going after the target. She will have to pass a peril, though. I used my free pass already. All right. So hopefully it's not a crappy one, because she's actually not great on perils. So we need something with finesse on it. Here is the here's the peril. 1 with finesse. Oh my gosh. Oh, it's a gimme. Well, maybe I shouldn't say that, right? So 1 with finesse. If she gets 1 success, that's her peril. And she gets past it, no problem at all. So she gets past the peril. Now we're going to draw one of these random yellow cards we have lying out here. We have 3 yellow cards laying here in front of me. This is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 over here. 5, 6 is this one, and it is 1 with finesse. Fast talk. Just going to fast talk him. 3 dice 6. He reaches out. She says, "Oh, I just want to get an autograph. Will you sign? Will you? Oh, here, I have a pen for you to use." She offers him a pen to use to sign the little autograph book that she has there available for him. And he takes the pen, and it kind of pokes him a little bit. Oh, so what's wrong with this pen? It had something sharp on it. I think it poked me. 1 success with 3 die 10. And she almost did not get it. A 1 and a 3, but that 7 is enough to get the 1 success that she needed for the plot point, and the plot point is passed. The politician succumbs to the poison and goes down. And boys and girls, in this scenario, passing the major plot point ends the scenario. And that's it. That was the move. That was the move that got it. You know, did I screw up moving Denton? I feel like maybe that's what really cost Denton's side here. I should have stayed out there, right? When you're doing the escort mission, you gotta be an escort, right? You can't just go run it off. That was probably, I don't know. I didn't want to let Galgo have the initiative. I felt like I was making the right move, but I really left the target way too open. You know, if Father O had not gone down, if Father O had been able to survive that, you know, he'd have been there. You know, shoulda, woulda, couldas all day long. In this instance, Galgo eliminates the target with the poison pen, and that will end the scenario. If the target moves off the table, the scenario ends immediately. If the plot point is completed, or if the target is completed by the attacker, it's also scenario ends. Otherwise, you have 6 turns to get it off the table. Math-wise, it's pretty close. You know, it's 6 turns to get across the table. You can actually just let the plot point move off the table by itself, and the attacker or the defender doesn't actually have to do any of the plot points, but it definitely helps if you do some of the plot points to kind of counterbalance it. Because if you let the attacker do too many of the plot points, then they're really gonna slow you down and possibly even prevent you. And you can do the math on that and figure it out. It's really easy to do. The X is kind of the random variable in there, but it's a heck of a fun scenario. That's possibly one of my favorite scenarios out of the Vice Alley book. In some of those early scenario books, the scenarios feel very basic. You know, right? Because the game was still relatively new and things like that. I really like our newer scenarios probably better than some of these older scenarios, but this one kind of stands out to me. And there's several really good ones in there, but there's also some that feel very basic scenarios, which are still fun, right? But this is almost like a chess match at times, where you really have to think about those moves. Maybe doing the police would have still helped. I think Chris had suggested maybe just doing the cop. In that instance, maybe that's what I should have done. But it meant that instead of them ending up there, he would have got another 6 inches further, and I might not have been able to block him down there. So then it was kind of balancing whether or not Galgo was going to go for that plot point or whether she wasn't going to go for it. So trying to cover too many bases maybe got D.A. Denton's team spread out too much. really probably did. I had my sidekick and my leader off on one side of the street, not out there really defending the target like I should have been. You know, anyway, it was a cool scenario. I had a lot of fun with it. I hope you guys enjoyed it too. Get signed up to play with us. If you haven't already, please take a moment right now and hit the like button. Get signed up to play with us. Be sure to hit that bell so you get a notification. And that's it for today. We would like to re-release, possibly if we can get Tomb of the Serpent released this year. I don't know which book we're going to do next, but we would really like to update all of our old books, all of our old first edition books to second edition. So I would really like to do a second edition version of Vice Alley. And in the second edition version, what I would like to do, the vision that I have for it, is to make it a little more villains and vigilantes kind of style, so that you can maybe play with epic characters in it, so that you could play a epic character as your league. That what that means, though, is that the scenarios have to be designed around that idea to make that actually possible. Because a lot of older scenarios, a lot of scenarios you cannot. This is a good example of a scenario that really doesn't work all that well if you only have one character, right? Because you wouldn't be able to defend it properly. Because you wouldn't be able to control. You wouldn't know where it was going to end up. You wouldn't be able to control a lot of things by having multiple characters out there. So this is a good example of a scenario that doesn't really work just playing one character. But I think that would be fun. I think it would be fun to have that in there as, like a Batman, a shadow sort of character, right? The Spider, some of those kind of epic level vigilantes, tough guys that are, cleaning up the streets on their own. That doesn't mean you have to do it that way. You could also do a Green Hornet and Kato sort of deal where you have, or Kato, where you have a duo league, a Batman and Robin sort of thing. You could also do a straight league where you have multiple characters. And I think that we want the scenarios to work for all of those. So if you really wanted to play it as a single character, then you could do that. So that's what we hope to do. I've been working on a few scenarios here and there when I kind of get an inspiration for it. But overall, that's what I'd like to see for the next Vice Alley, for the second edition version. So if you know what we did with Tomb of the Serpent, it was almost just a complete redesign. Like, I don't think I shouldn't say it that way. There are a couple scenarios that are really close to the way they were originally designed, but most of the scenarios were just completely scrapped and completely rewritten. But some of the scenarios in Tomb of the Serpent, specifically, I would say maybe in chapter 1, I don't think there are a lot of changes to, like, the Evil Below is still very close. There are a few changes, but not a lot. It's still very close to the same. But most of the scenarios are significantly different, even the last scenario. For the last scenario in Tomb of the Serpent, I always felt like it wasn't confrontational enough. And I designed it that way because the idea is that you're supposed to go in there and perform the ritual over basically the form of Apophis before he actually gets up out of his tomb, and he's to take him out. It's like you want to take out Dracula while he's still in his coffin, right? You don't want to take out Dracula while he's up out of the coffin, running around and eating face. So that's the idea, is that you went in there kind of trying to get through some of his low-level stuff. You find the coffin, you drive the stake in his heart, you chop off his head, whatever it is, and that's how you win the scenario. And I designed it that way, as an homage to like some of those old Hammer horror movies and, just sort of that sort of stuff. But it never really had quite the full epic struggle feel that I really wanted it to do. So the new version is going to put you on the edge of your seat, and it is going to be um, a real difficult scenario from beginning to end, where the forces of chaos and evil are out to get you. Really cool scenario. Now, another thing to remember about it is that, it is the last scenario in the campaign. So the idea is that you're going to be able to possibly, get some advancements for your characters. You will have things that you will have gathered along the way to make that last scenario doable. Like, you wouldn't want to necessarily just take a brand new league and throw them straight into that scenario, because then it probably would be a bit too much. But if you have a league that's gone through that campaign and has played those scenarios and have picked up the Hyksos scrolls and has made the picked up the different favors from the old gods and things like that, as you've gone through that campaign, then that's what makes that last scenario a little more doable. It'll still be a challenge, but at least then you can do it. Anyhow, big thank you to everybody for joining me, listening to me, ramble on a little bit. I hope you enjoyed this one. A big thank you to everybody for joining us, and that's it. Play us out of here, Dave. Doodle doo 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 doodle doo 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 Dave. Doodle doo 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 doo. Bye, everybody. Doodle doo 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 doodle doo.